In this video, I'll tell you how to choose a digital piano that fits your needs with a simple 3-step framework. The goal is to increase the probability that you'll buy a piano that meets your criteria, makes you happy for years, and leaves you with no regrets. Of course, there is no 100% guarantee, but you can reach, let's say, a 95% satisfaction level. So once you have your new gear, you can focus on playing the music, which is the main priority after all, as we call it the end game. And you need to be aware of one trap you can get into that I will help you to avoid. Last year I was hunting for a new digital piano and got stuck between various brands, Roland, Nord and Kawai. I didn't know which to buy, there were so many models and various opinions, and I was so confused, but eventually I made a choice that turned out great for me. By the way, this is not a sponsored video. I just like helping others because it gives me great satisfaction. My previous video on why I chose Roland LX5 got over 10k views and a lot of comments, and it was still by far the most watched video on my still small channel, so I'm glad I can make a difference. The 3-step framework I'm going to present is not only a result of my shopping experience, but also business expertise based on my 20+ years career in IT and management. Download the free template below and follow along with me. With so many digital pianos on the market, only a few really meet your criteria. So let's find them, shall we? Okay, Paul, just stop talking and show us what you've got. As mentioned before, there are 3 steps to follow in the framework. Step number 1. Write down a list of your needs. They need to be written down. It is a simple but powerful technique. It will help you with hesitations in the future. This becomes your foundation. Step number 2. Do a thorough market research. Gather information and experience and write down your findings in a template I have prepared to compare it to your needs. Go as broad as possible to learn about the market. And step number 3. Summarize and decide. Your discovery phase and experience gathered in the template file will make it so much easier to make a decision. Although it is purely based on facts you tried to write down, I also recommend that you add intuition to the process. It is not rocket science, but it's all about consistency. The process is to help you dig into areas you weren't aware of and learn, both in terms of your needs and the realities of the gear that is on the market. So let's go back to step number 1, understanding what you need. Before you start writing down your needs, think about 2 things that will strongly influence what kind of digital piano is right for you. Consider the kind of music you want to play. Are these classics, pop music, jazz, electronic music, whatever? And think about your long-term plans. Are you playing casually for fun, becoming a professional musician, or gigging for fun? I wanted to play pop and rock music and just a bit of classical. I learned Fiolis, Bella Ciao, The Entertainer, and Nothing Else Matters, and some Chopin songs. And I love it, I'm just playing for fun at home. Let's go through the part 1A of the framework. First, the piano sound. If you buy a digital piano, you first and foremost want to play a piano and not design synth sounds. So how important is the piano sound and reality for you? Second thing is a range of patches. Do you only want to have a few piano sounds or also a wide range of patches including strings, guitars, organs or even basic synths? Third one is the keyboard type. So there is a wide range of them, starting with light synth-style keys through semi-weighted to full piano-weighted hammer action keys. And when it comes to keyboard types, there is a piano feel. So even the same keyboard type, like full piano-weighted hammer action, can feel very different depending on settings and the sound engine. So for example, sampling versus modeling. And also each manufacturer is treating this topic in a bit different way. Next on the list is design, and it is purely subjective. I love Nord design, you know, these red keyboards, The buttons, knobs, everything, it's just beautiful. But I ended with a glossy Roland upright cabinet that looks just gorgeous in my living room. But many people just don't care about aesthetics, and you may be one of them. Next on the list is sound source. So are you going to play on built-in speakers, or will you be using headphones for most of the time? It is very important, as sometimes it's worth spending more for better speakers or choosing a brand that offers better headphone amplification. If you want to plug it in into an external mixer and speakers, then probably most models will be fine for you. Then we come to features. So the piano designer, layers, splits, and all this stuff. So do you want to be able to design the piano sound? To have piano and, for example, strings layered for a richer sound? Or do you want to split your keyboard with different sounds in the first part of the keyboard and the second section? Expandability is also on the list. So are you okay to be limited with factory sound patches, or do you want to be able to expand it in the future? For example, Nord is very strong here. Then we have ports and wireless connectivity. So what kind of ports will you need? MIDI in, Bluetooth connectivity, or anything else? Usability answers the question how easy it is to change settings using control panels, screens, knobs, or even mobile apps, which makes it more convenient to switch patches, manage settings, and shape your piano sound. Then we have size and portability and weight. Are you taking into consideration the possibilities of playing jam sessions with your friends or playing gigs on stage? Then an upright digital piano with a full cabinet is not for you. You need something lighter and portable. If you are only planning to play at home, ask yourself how much space you have for the instrument. You don't want to drag it from your basement or garage every time you want to play. And of course we have budget, price. I had around $300 to $400 for my first purchase and $3,000 for my second digital piano. I feel very lucky to be able to afford such an instrument, but I know a lot of professionals using digital pianos worth $1,000 on stage, and they are fine with it. It's all about skills and practice at the end of the day. Here were my priorities when buying a piano. I wanted the best piano sound possible, 88 weighted hammer action keys, as I love pianos as the instrument, great keyboard feel, of course purely subjective, wide range of patches, not only pianos but also strings, guitars, organs, electronic pianos. Nice design was high on my list, sound layering and expandability with the option to add more sounds in the future. Portability was a plus, although I wasn't really focused on that. When you look on the framework, you have part 1b, so the needs you are not aware of yet. So once you write down all the needs and revise them, then figure out what else you should consider by speaking to music teachers, professionals, musicians and fellow piano players you can find in real life, in local communities, on YouTube or on Reddit. Make sure that people you speak to match the type of music you want to play and the kind of musician you want to become. Then update your final list of needs after the research. When I was buying my first budget piano, I was convinced I only needed 5 octaves and that a $300 budget would be enough. That is what I was aware of. But speaking to my music teacher and reading online, I realized I wanted to go with an 88 keys keyboard, and I chose Casio CDP 110S, which turned out to be a much better for start than I expected. When buying my second digital piano, I wanted to have the best piano sound possible, but it turned out that the keyboard action and the connection I felt with the instrument were even more important. I even ditched the idea of adding more sound patches in the future. One big thing that really surprised me in the process was that you don't need to buy a digital piano that will be the closest to the real acoustic upright or grand piano in terms of feel and sound. I played on acoustic pianos and I preferred less realistic digital pianos with amplified sound And why? Honestly, I don't really know. Some people buy Nord pianos with very light action and are okay with that, so it is your choice, remember? The second step in the framework is market research, so gather information and experience. Try out many digital pianos before you buy, and I can't stress enough how important that is. It sounds obvious, but so many people still rely on YouTube and Reddit without making the extra effort to check the instrument themselves, and then they regret it. Digital pianos sound different in real life than on YouTube. Even if you bring the same headphones to the store that you use with your computer, it will sound different, sometimes even completely different. And your perception of sound may also differ from what most people say in the comments under video reviews. Even if you have to travel to the nearest store, visit a friend, a teacher, a local music school, or a fellow player you found on social media who lives nearby, just be creative. There is always this extra effort that you can make. Unless you live on an island 5,000 miles from the nearest civilization, you'll probably find someone with similar gear nearby. I had a funny story because when I sold my Casio CDP-110, it was bought online by a guy who lived just 2 blocks away from my apartment and had a large collection of synths. Very quickly, we became music buddies and even visited a Superbooth music event in Berlin together, which I posted information about on this channel. Before we begin, let's focus on the types of digital pianos available on the market. So we have small keyboards for beginners, cheap alternatives for people who want to spend less in the beginning to give playing the piano a try. So you have Casio CT S1, Roland Go Piano, or one of the Yamaha PSR models, which are great for people who just want to find out if this hobby is really for them without spending a lot of money. Then we have upright digital pianos. They mainly offer piano sound patches, have limited number of sounds, provide realistic piano keyboard experience. They have built-in speakers and are generally great for people wanting to play classics. We have also stage pianos. As the name states, they are great for gigs, with a lot of knobs and buttons for quick sound changes, especially when you are in the dark, when you are on a stage. Great sounds that gets through the mix, and very portable and light with a lot of ports, but no speakers. And the last category are workstations. These are very specific instruments, so you have large touchscreens, extended patch design and tweaks, a boosted version of really a stage piano with built-in DAW software to compose music on. They are like a small computer with a keyboard, great for some music producers. And you need to be aware of these instruments categories when doing your research. Try to think which one you prefer, but be open to change your preferences later on. I thought I wanted a stage piano, but as you see, I ended up with an upright cabinet digital piano. Before doing the market research, fill in section 2a with the hardware you already know and write down its capabilities. Then start your full-scale research, which may even take you months if you are picky like me. Some people just buy the first piano they like and it's fine. Whatever works for you. Since I love doing market research, I allowed myself to take my time. Watch YouTube reviews and read posts on Reddit and piano forums from actual users, rather than stores presenting their products. They usually sound very positive, for understandable reasons, but you want to see pros and cons. There are still very valuable commercial reviewers like Stu from Miriam Music, as well as Anderton's TV channel, but their guests often have specific needs that may not match yours. Focus instead on players with similar needs and musical goals. For example, if you want to play just for fun at home like I do, don't pay too much attention to gigging musicians or church organ players sharing their thoughts. You may also speak to your friends. When asking piano playing friends or musicians, be careful and treat their advice as just one small part of your market knowledge. I've heard many statements like, Kawai makes the best digital pianos, I can get you a discount, or I always recommend Yamaha to students because I've always played Yamaha. But I replied, maybe they are the best for most people, but are they the best for me? And family. As long as your loved ones aren't musicians, be careful when listening to their advice. Find smart people around you, like I did with my fiancée, who convinced me to pay extra for a glossy finish of my Roland. She said it looks stunning and it will stay with us for years, so why not add extra money, as it would look great in our living room. And then we have salespeople in stores. Always tell them about your needs first, so they know how to advise you and give you recommendations, and visit multiple stores, and don't just rely on one. They may be biased by their own preferences, available offers, or partnerships with brands. And ask about their clients' experiences, which models they were the happiest with and which pianos caused the most problems. What I knew before my research, I knew that Nord had amazing piano sounds and looked stunning. I loved it when watching Undertones TV. Also, so many people praised Yamaha for its realistic sound. Kurzweil seemed powerful and versatile, with a good price and great usability. What I didn't know at the start is that I thought Roland wasn't right for me because of their heavy key actions that I didn't like. But then I learned you can adjust the key touch settings. I didn't know there are cabin digital pianos like Roland LX5, which not only offers a piano experience but also has features you would expect from a stage piano, like 300 patches, splits, layers, mobile apps, all these functionalities. Also, there are brands that have better headphones amplifications than others, at least to my ears. And I also realized that you can focus on picking a digital piano with the best keyboard experience possible and then plug it into a VST, something I actually learned about on Reddit. So VST is like a program that emulates a great piano, like Pianotech. The last step of the framework is compare and decide, like Command and Conquer, right? Summarize your discovery phase and experience in the template file. In the second part of the template, you will have columns where you add your subjective remarks and scores. And once you've done that, before making a decision, make sure you don't fall into this trap that I mentioned in the beginning of this video. The trap that is called overthinking. And it comes from the fear of making the wrong decision. There is no 100% guarantee that you'll make the perfect buying decision. But if you follow a 3-step framework I presented in this video and use my templates, you will know you put as much effort as possible to be happy with your choice in the future. The digital piano you pick won't be perfect. It won't cover all of your needs. It may have the best keyboard action, but the sound may not be ideal. One thing that will allow you to escape the overthinking trap is to follow your intuition. When I finally chose my gear, despite people suggesting there were better options, I trusted my intuition. So I did not only base it on facts I wrote down, but also on my gut feeling. If you listen to reviews, there are always some cons. Always. For example, many people say Kawai offers the most realistic sound and Roland offers great keyboard action. One brand provides 3 years warranty and the other 10. One model you can try it in store, the other isn't available. One has a better mobile app, and so on. It doesn't matter if in 5 years' time you look back and think you could have made a different decision. You do all it takes to gather information to make the best decision now, with your current knowledge, mindset and expectations, period. I had my regrets for over 6 months after buying Roland, and it was eating me, but I let it go and started enjoying playing even more. Remember one thing, all the details you worry about when buying the gear may not be such important later on. We get used to limitations, they are okay. At the end of the day, we live in amazing times, when digital pianos are relatively cheap compared to what we had like 20 or 30 years ago. And if you can spend like $300, $1,000 or $3,000 on your new keyboard, just appreciate that. You're already among the wealthiest people on earth. If you choose an online store with a return policy and you don't like it, you can always return it. And if you don't like it after a year, you can sell it and buy a new one. I know it will lose value. Let me know in the comments which step of the framework was the hardest for you. I would love to help. A few things to finish my video with. There are no bad brands among Yamaha, Kawai, Roland, Nord, Casio and Korg. These are all amazing companies with a long tradition of building digital pianos with passion and care. Keep some distance to the buying process is addictive, all the research and adrenaline, but at the end of the day you'll focus on playing, not buying. And one last trick before I go. Once you've done all of your research, ask ChatGPT or another AI assistant to help you make your final decision by uploading your template to it. I wrote down all my needs and the purchases I wasn't satisfied with, and it recommended me the gear I didn't even know existed. Good luck and enjoy playing, and click the link below to download the PDF, and don't forget to subscribe for more guys like this.